You're working with guys that have the best mindset on planet Earth, the best mindsets. What's the I may be wrong about this, but I believe, and I've heard some of them say this, that they all think they're the best, right? Each one of them thinks they're each on their own the best on Earth. That's kind of like a big part of it, right?
Huge part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the confidence earlier, the mentality part, especially as we're talking about hitting in the big leagues, which is the hardest thing to do there is in professional sports.
Yeah.
The amount of failure that these guys have to deal with night in, night out in front of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on the biggest stage, wearing the pinstripes, like it's tough mentally. It's exhausting mentally. And if you don't believe, if you don't believe you're the best in the world at it, you're already beat. The gladiator, every single night, that's what these guys are doing. Like they're the gladiator entering the arena, and they spend all day, which is probably the sweetest part about my job, is getting to watch. I mean, I love watching, obviously, the games and the dugout and the strategy and competing and win, but like watching what these guys do for the, 7 hours before the game is awesome. That's probably the most fun I have inside my job.
What can you say about that? Yeah, what can you say about that preparation?
Yeah, I can say that it's just way more than you would expect. I think I've gained a different respect for the players that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis, because I get to watch the hours that go into it when nobody's watching. And everybody sees the 4 at-bats. Everybody sees, the play on ESPN. Everybody sees the score of the game. But nobody sees the hours and hours and hours that are going into preparing for that night, for that matchup, or coping with the stress and pressure that it takes to go out there and continue to perform when these guys are going through a slump, and they're hearing it from the distractions from the media and the fans and all the outlets, and having to deal with that and flush it and go out and do it again the next night and the next night and the next night. Knowing that inevitably they're going to continue to fail because they're hitters in the big leagues, and hitting is a game. Baseball is a game of failure, but hitting is an act of failure all the time. Time. The best ones in the world are failing, 70% of the time or whatever. Like it's crazy how much they have to deal with. But to watch what they put into it on a day-to-day basis and getting to be a part of that process is extremely rewarding and gives you a whole new respect.
When I was playing, and there was some guys with great mindsets, and obviously, a guy like Jimmy, and I had a lot of guys that really helped me out that were like, they would hear me saying things that were basically like, dude, no, you can't think like that. Like, but, in my 30s, I started reading. Do guys read at the big league level very much? Like, do you read?
I do. I read. I haven't read as much the last few years as I did before, but I wish it was something that was like a better skill of mine that I did younger. I would say probably I started reading probably in my like mid-20s, and for a 5 or 6 year period, man, I was really into reading, and I've kind of gotten away from it a little bit the last few years. Yeah. But I think it's something now with social media and some stuff like that, which I don't know if it's a good substitute, but I've gotten a little bit more into like, all right, I'll maybe listen to a podcast or follow this person that puts out like bits of content rather than sitting down and reading a book. But I don't think it's as valuable. It's something I need to get better at. I think it's similar to like doing a devotion in the morning, or reading a tweet about a Bible verse isn't as valuable as like opening the Bible and reading it and diving into it and really trying to like dissect it, which is what I try to do when I read like a book. Like I'm not just reading the first sentence of the paragraph and skipping down, like I did when I was in school. Like when I got into reading, it was like it'd take me forever to read a book because I get really deep into it and I want to go, I don't want to just get the book over with. Like I want to dive into every sentence, and so it takes me a long time to get through a book because of that. But I've resorted to a little other stuff lately. But
Man, well, it's, I was curious about that because those guys are they have to be incredible. They have to have an incredible mindset.
Yeah.
They have to have, they've all had paradigm shifts to get where they're at and stay where they're at, more importantly. And, as business people and entrepreneurs, we read a lot. Yeah. We read a lot. Podcasts are great sources for that. I think this one's a good one too.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, what we're doing here is, we're, it's in the intro, basically, letting the people that have lived the stories tell the stories to the people that need to hear them. So breaking down the playbook of top performers so other people can have success too. Right. And it's what you find out is everybody's studying something. So what do you see as the guys, how they get that? How are those guys able to get that mindset at that level? But more importantly, how do they stay sharp with it? Because again, they got everybody on earth saying that guy sucks, or,
Yeah. I think trusting their process individually, finding out which process works for them and trusting that, and not letting temporary feelings or temporary results take them away from their foundations that keep them going. And I think that's something we deal with all the time as humans. Like we, don't feel like doing it that day. Everybody goes through that. But the quicker you can realize that's just a feeling, it doesn't matter. Continue with what got me here. Continue with this process. The consistency, there's nothing better than consistency if you're trying to achieve anything. I get asked, a lot just from coaching friends of mine or friends of mine, like, hey, what, or it's a workout plan or a diet or whatever. I'm like, dude, nothing's going to do it if you don't do it all the time. Whatever you do it all the time. Be consistent with it. If there's the fad of this diet to this workout to this plan, this train I see it all the time with hitting, there's new fads that come up all the time on the hitting. It's that could be good for this person. That could be good, but finding what works for you individually and then repeating it over and over and over. It's the little things, it's the mundane things that you have to do over and over and over again that ultimately lead to success. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do those things.
Man. So as we get towards the end of this sucker here. So first of all, I had so many things on the list over here to go with, and honestly, man, this has been I'm having a great time. This has been phenomenal information. Is there anything I've left out that we were supposed to talk about? How are we doing over here? Are we doing good with everything?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So
you got anything?
Yeah. All right, so Ethan, as we're getting to the end here, right? So obviously you're hearing a lot of things that you probably hear a lot at home. And I would say that my dude over there, I would put his work ethic up against anybody's, and he's got a really strong mindset too, which is fantastic. He's confident, but he's confident in a way that makes others feel good. It's not a egotistical type of confidence, but Ethan, again, what you got a hitting coach for the New York Yankees sitting over there. All right. So do you have any questions for him about how you can grow at this part in your journey, or anything like that?
What would you say to your 15-year-old self if you had the information back then that you do now?
Bro, that was a good one. Wow.
That was crazy. I just came up with that. I don't know.
Jeez.
That was
that was explosive right there.
Edit what I just said out.
Are you saying from a is this from a life? From a
just as a baseball player and in your life, what would you say to yourself if you knew the things that you knew now?
I would probably tell myself that it's okay to miss out on some things. And I guess when I say that, FOMO, right? That's fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Was something I think I was handcuffed by for a lot of my teenage, early 20s years, because I was social. I had a lot of friends. I was involved in a lot of different things, and I tried to give my time to all of it all the time, but really I never gave my full amount of time to anything. I gave a part of myself to so many different things and was so spread around and so scattered that I never really was devoted to anything. And, for me, right now, like I still have a lot of friends, a lot of people that I talk to, but, I really try to, silo myself to things that really matter, my family, a few close friends I have, my job. And if I have to miss out on, this or that along the way, like that's okay.
It's the path you got to take.
Right. It's the path I got to take. And I wasn't okay with that for forever, cause I was like, if I miss out on this, then, who knows who cares? It doesn't matter, find the main things, in your life that truly matter and give your full self to that and let the other people enjoy the rest. But I would think that was something that definitely held me back for a long time, that it took me a while to realize that. I still struggle with it. I'm in no way am I perfect in that area, but it's something I'm at least conscious of now and I'm trying to get better at as I get older.
That was profound, as a matter of fact, because again, it's the fear of missing out is real. And, he asked me quite often, like, Dad, if you could do it again, do you think you could make it to the big leagues? And I said, absolutely, because I didn't understand it was a business. I didn't understand how to set real goals. My goal was to play professional baseball. I did that.
Right.
I didn't realize I didn't have the right goal. Right. My goal should have been the best at anything is the person who can get the smallest targets. Yep. Right. And so my goal was to play pro ball, and I did that. And I found out that wasn't actually what I wanted. Right. So it was a very, very valuable lesson, and learn how to set like proper goals or targets. And then again, not knowing that it was a business, I was just kind of happy to be there. Yeah. When you can figure out how to navigate through the business of whatever it is that you want to do to get where you want to get to. But again, think about it. All the guys that he coaches that get paid to do what they do, extremely, like, they're kings. They're literally kings, and they're playing in the Kings Stadium. You know what I mean? So he's coaching kings, and but these guys are there because the team is what it's all about. They're there to add value to the team to win a championship, right? That their fans love, that the fans want to see them win. So every player there, it's about what they bring, right? It's what they can do to help build that team. Yep. It's unbelievable. You got anything else? That was really good. You're gonna have a hard time topping that one.
Yeah.
Because I feel this. I feel the same way. Like, looking back on your own career, like you could have played pro ball if you'd really know, if you'd know what you know now. Looking back, if you'd done a few things differently, no brainer, right?
No doubt. Yeah, there's so many areas of my life during that stage that I was lost, and for multiple reasons. One of those being I had no foundation. I didn't know Jesus. My faith wasn't where it is today. And so I was just kind of chasing all kinds of distractions of the world during that time. And that came with not dedicating myself to anything, but just trying to be involved in everything. And anytime you do that, you're not maximizing, and becoming the best version of yourself when you're doing that. So that was definitely a huge part of my journey during that time. But at the same time, like anything else, like I'm grateful for it. It's helped me become who I am today. It's not something I look back and regret. Would it have been sweet to, continue playing? I'm sure it would have. Yeah. But I also am super blessed to have, the family I have right now, to be where I'm at today, to have the job I'm at today, like all that happened for a reason to get me to where I'm at today. And who knows what would happen if it went a different route.
No doubt.
This is where I've been called to be today. And so I'm blessed that it went the way it did. And now it's my job and my responsibility and my purpose to try to not let my own boys, but also, a lot of the people I get to coach or get to have an impact on through the game of baseball, not go down that same path, not fall for those same distractions, same temptations that I did during that time, and to try to avoid that and, find a better route for themselves.